Hello, everyone. I'm Irina Kreming, and I'm the founder of INNOCOS, and I am here to announce that in just 2 weeks, we are kicking off our INNOCOS Beauty Innovation Summit in Santa Monica. I hope you join us in Santa Monica. Please do check the links and comments for the registrations if you have not registered yet. And hurry up, we have only not many seats available because it's a limited seats. It's a pandemic time and you can understand it. So we are looking forward to talking to you about the future trends, innovations in beauty, and the most importantly, winning in the new normal. We have amazing speakers lined up covering lots of major topics. We speak about technology innovation, retail disruption, consumer dynamics, and how they're changing, marketing trends, product innovation, just to name a few. And today we are here to announce our opening keynote, Jared Weiner from the Future Hunters, who's already spoke at our summit in Miami, and he was rated as one of the most inspiring speakers of all. So we are super excited to have you back, Jared, to have you back in Santa Monica. Jared is professional futurist. And now in time of the pandemics, it is important as ever to talk about the future. And what we have got the best person for you for that. So we invite to facilitate this short interview and about the future presentations. We invite our member of our community, Irena Katyukharova, who is a marketing executive in beauty and wellness space, and she will lead this live chat today. So Irena.
Hello, I'm so excited to connect with Jared Weiner today to get a brief preview of his presentation at the upcoming INNOCOS Summit on October 18th in Santa Monica, where he will be speaking on building momentum for a rapidly evolving future. Jared is Executive Vice President of the Future Hunters, a leading futurist consulting firm. He's been identifying trends in the global marketplace and analyzing their implications for various business clients. Jared currently serves on the board of directors of the World Future Society. He also sits on American Express, Open's Digital Advisory Board, and the advisory board of the Young Luxury Marketers Council. He has lectured about future trends for many corporate and academic audience, as well as at prominent industry conferences, and we are so lucky to have Jared connect with us today. So Jared, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
It's nice to see you both.
In May 2020, just a few months after the pandemic has started, you spoke at the INNOCOS Virtual Summit about the many unknown variables and related uncertainty in predicting the future. Has that changed, and can we predict the future with more certainty today?
It's a great question. I would like to just start by thanking both of you for the very warm introduction. And I am very much looking forward to participating in a few weeks in Santa Monica. I really enjoyed my participation in Miami a few years ago, and it's very gratifying for me, and I know everyone who participates in the live event space, to actually start getting out there again and speaking about these important topics in front of live audiences. So I'm very much looking forward to the event. Now, to your question, what we talked about in May of 2020, we have seen a lot of that continue through today. So as we revisit those topics about a year and a half later, a lot of what we were talking about at the beginning of the pandemic have only strengthened over the last year and a half. And while we're starting in some ways to come through the pandemic, that's still an unknown, but we're starting to come through the pandemic a little bit. I think we have a much clearer sense now of what the world is starting to look like and will look like as we get through this. So I think that the conversation we're going to have in a few weeks is going to touch on some similar themes to what we talked about last year, but we're going to have some updated information, and we're probably going to be able to make some new projections on top of that.
Do you think the pandemic has taught more leaders to build capabilities and plan for the long term?
Yeah, so one of the things we talk about in our shop is what we call the silver linings of the pandemic, which is not to say that the pandemic hasn't been awful in so many ways, but we all know about that. It's not my interest or my job to come in and just remind people of what's been bad about the last year and a half. I think what's interesting to me are the opportunities that have come out of this. And the silver linings, as we call them, include things like leaders of businesses understanding that there are major problems with short-term thinking, and the idea that they have to be prepared for every possible contingency in the future, which could be something like another pandemic, but something that is hugely disruptive to both consumer markets and to supply chains. And so I think that the focus on short-term thinking and that kind of thinking being exposed as problematic has actually been a good thing to come out of this. I think more leaders are going to be disciplined to practice what we call strategic foresight and think very, very long term. And the other silver lining that I think we've seen in a lot of different sectors, and I'm sure this has been happening as well in the beauty and wellness space, is really the idea of rapid innovation. Being forced to conceive of ideas and bring them to market more quickly than we ever could have conceived of. And so what used to take years is now taking months. And what used to take months is now taking weeks. And innovation is becoming less bureaucratic. And to me, that's pretty exciting, because if circumstances out there change dramatically and force us to innovate in real time, I think a lot of companies are now understanding that they can do that as long as the obstacles are taken out of their way. So we call those the silver linings of the pandemic.
Great. And then you spoke about COVID accelerator effect on several emerging trends. Which of these trends are continuing to grow and impact the world we live in?
Yeah, so when this pandemic started, a lot of people were asking us questions about how the world was going to dramatically change and all of these new things that were going to happen as a result of the pandemic. And my message has always been pretty clear that while some new things have emerged over the last year and a half, a lot of what we've seen happening are things that we were able to identify long before the pandemic, but the pandemic has accelerated them. So we call that the COVID accelerator effect. And let's talk about a few ways that that's happening that I think all of us can relate to. I mean, the first has to do with virtual work, or what the term out there is distributed work, partially or fully distributed work. And the idea being that more and more, certainly white collar professionals are going to be, or people who engage in what I'll call intellectual or cognitive labor, are going to be working at least part-time from home, using flexible arrangements, whether it's where they're working from or the hours they're working. And we were talking about this concept for the last 10 plus years. We called it Verflex, and we coined that term over a decade ago. And at the time, only a few companies were really experimenting with this. And now, because of the pandemic, you're going to see massive workforce and workplace shifts that we could sort of predict a long time ago, but now they're coming to fruition. You know, the other one that's very obvious is the idea that as supply chains get disrupted and as human labor gets disrupted, we are going to see more, certainly lower level functions throughout the organization get disintermediated by technology. And we've been talking about that for a very, very long time. It's been happening in the manufacturing sector, but we were saying that a lot of cognitive labor was going to start to get disintermediated by technology, what we call other sourcing. Instead of outsourcing to other humans, work was going to become done by technology that could do it more efficiently and more cheaply. And because of the pandemic, we are seeing that there are certain areas of human labor where people are either less interested in working in those areas anymore, or people don't want to have as many human-to-human touch points, or there are other issues like the wages being paid. So you're going to have more lower-level jobs being outsourced to technology. And so a lot of the things we're seeing today, we were seeing prior to the pandemic, but the pandemic has accelerated it. You know, another one, migration shifts, demographics, the study of how people, certainly in the developed world, are increasingly living in multi-generational households. So now, because people need togetherness and they need support, both emotionally and economically, we see in some cases 3 or 4 generational households. So what does that do when we're consumer marketers? What does that do is we market to people who might be living in the same house as their grandparents or their grandchildren, and sort of their lifestyles are overlapping. So there are all of these interesting things we're looking at, politically, economically, technologically, and demographically, that started to happen before the pandemic, but they're now happening at an accelerated exponential pace right now.
It sounds like there's so much you will be sharing at the event on the 18th.
Yes, it's going to be a very, very robust session. I think Irina, as the master of ceremonies, has graciously given me up to 30 minutes. So I am going to cover a lot of ground in a half an hour, and I'm really looking forward to the discussion.
And
we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I really like that you are actually having this helicopter view on the economy, and not just like like we are sometimes, when we're looking at the beauty and how pandemic is changed, we are speaking about lipsticks and all this, beauty and wellness industry details. And I think it's so good to start the event with looking at the big picture and economy, and because it does gives huge influence on the future and the future of beauty wellness. And I'm like feel so lucky we have you speaking again. I'm just like over the moon. That was my dream opening presentation. So thank you so much.
You're the nicest, and I love working with you, and I love your energy and enthusiasm. And I have to say that it's mutual, because I benefit from being in a room with very, very smart people who are running these kinds of businesses, because, and I always like to say this, and this is a good time for me to say this prior to the event in Santa Monica, which is that when I come into a room of executives like this, I am humble enough to admit that I do not know as much about the day-to-day nuances of their business as they do. I'm not there to teach them about their business. My job is to bring that outsider's perspective, as you just so eloquently described it, and to help contextualize for them what is happening technologically, economically, et cetera, that might impact their business in ways they may not be thinking about right now. So they hopefully will learn a lot from me. Hopefully I will shake them up a little bit, and I will learn from them. And during a time that's been precarious for many people, I hope that we leave the session with a little bit of an optimistic message that highlights some of the opportunities that lie ahead. That's my goal.
I love that. Totally.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you so much, Jared.
Thank
we
you
don't
both.
want to keep you too long because you are very busy man. Super appreciate this brief conversations, and I can't wait to see you in Santa Monica.
I will see you in a couple of weeks in sunny California.
Yes. Okay.
In 2 weeks, October 18th.
Bye,
Yes.
everyone.
Bye. Hello, everyone. I am super excited to welcome our panel today. And I'm Irina Kreming. I'm the founder of INNOCOS, and I'm here to announce that just in 2 weeks, we are kicking off our next INNOCOS Summit, Beauty Innovation Summit in Santa Monica. So I hope you join us. There are still some tickets left. There will be a link below to join. We will be speaking about the future trends, innovation and beauty, and winning in the new normal. And of course, there will be a lot of topics covered, like technology, innovation, retail disruption, consumer dynamics, marketing trends. But from the product side, of course, sustainability and Blue Beauty movement, which actually Jeannie Jarnot, our guest, actually they founded, launched. There will be a huge focus on sustainability. Sustainability is as hot topic as ever. So today we are here to announce our facilitator of the Blue Beauty panel, Jeannie Jarnot. She is the founder and CEO of Beauty Heroes, a leading healthy beauty retailer and discovery platform, and also leading the Blue Beauty movement. So we have asked our member of our community, Irena Kajikharova, who is a marketing executive in business, in beauty and wellness business, to lead this short live chat session. So just a little bit about Jeannie. She is the long-time spa industry professional. She managed the spa and luxury hotels and resorts for over 15 years. When considering product to use in the spa she managed, she thought that of her hero products, those that define a brand that you completely believe in. And she was very careful to sort through ingredients information and select product containing safe ingredients. She founded Beauty Heroes, beauty subscription, and formed Spa Heroes in 2014 to simplify and improve the way we discover and buy healthy beauty. So by working only with the brands who have been aware commitment to ethical sourcing, ingredients purity, and unparalleled quality. She has instituted a new standards of excellence and transparency in the industry, establishing her company as the most trusted source for the healthy beauty. Jeannie works directly with brand founders to hand select, test, and approve each product featured by beauty heroes, inspired by beliefs that quality over quantity is the new way to shop. Beauty heroes monthly delivery service slow down the discovery process and introduce clean beauty through an intentional and educational approach, inviting us for use less and love more. Now, I would like to ask Irena to ask some questions of our facilitator of the panel in the INNOCOS Summit in Santa Monica.
Thank you, Irina, and hi, Jeannie. Such a pleasure to speak with you today. So you started the Blue Beauty movement, and I was inspired to learn about this Planet Conscious initiative. Can you share what Blue Beauty is for anyone who isn't familiar with it?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Irina, for that introduction. Thank you, Irena, for hosting me today. I appreciate it. So nice to be asked the questions. I'm usually the one asking them. So Blue Beauty was actually inspired at an INNOCOS conference. I was sitting in the audience listening to the trend analyst talking about how consumers are going to being green is no longer relevant. If you aren't already green in your company, you've sort of missed the boat, that consumers are going to demand for companies to go blue. And what he meant by that was that companies are going to be looked to make a positive impact on the environment through their operations, to use their companies for good. And at that time that I was sitting in the audience, this light bulb went off for me. I was working on several campaigns with different brands to tell their stories, to celebrate their greenness and the things that really resonated with me, which is what I started Beauty Heroes to do. And I realized that these brands were already doing this. They had been doing it because that is what they genuinely cared about. They started their company with a mission to use it for good. And so I came back from that conference. I actually called my marketing partner at the time, and I said, listen, we have to tell these stories in a different way. We're going to talk about going blue and how our companies that we are working with are doing this, and we're gonna start something called Project Blue Beauty, where we told all of the stories of all of our brands. And then, as we started that, we decided to have just a deeper conversation with our customers about what going blue actually meant. And we've been doing that for about 3.5 years. And the hope was that by having this conversation with our consumers and with our brands, it would inspire others to also go blue. That was kind of the idea. I thought, well, if people are hearing about this, understanding it, starting to absorb it into their consciousness, it will inspire more consumers to ask more questions, and it'll inspire more brands to follow suit. And it has really worked in that way. And I feel really just, that's been very rewarding to me to see that happen organically and very intentionally.
I love the story, and I love the positive impact aspect of it. So since late September this year, so about 2 weeks ago, more than 200 beauty and wellness brands joined forces to support Code Red for Climate, a collective action advocating for critical climate solutions. How does this action relate to Blue Beauty?
Well, I think it speaks to what's people are feeling important. I think that these companies, I think all of us, with any sort of consciousness are feeling like this is an urgent issue. And we want to do whatever we can to bring attention to it. So I think that campaign really speaks to that. It really speaks to what sort of is on people's hearts and minds right now. And it gives beauty brands an opportunity to use their platform to do something good. This is really, that campaign specifically is about calling your senator and about activating political change, letting our politicians know that this is an important issue. And I absolutely salute that. And we need to all do that. We absolutely all need to sign on to that. We all need to, it's really about getting customers to pick up the phone and dial their senator or dial their elected officials. So it's a really good use of your company's platform. I think what's really interesting is that a lot of times brands are very hesitant in this climate to make political statements, but the environment is one thing that pretty much everybody can get behind. So we're all on the same team when it comes to this movement and to the different ways that we can affect action. I will say that I think that, what people need to understand, what consumers need to understand, and what companies need to understand is that going blue within your company is really not something that just happens overnight or that can be easily done. If it was easily done, we'd all be doing it. And there's no one thing that means you're going blue. It's really about this constant conversation, this constant evolution, this constant adoption of innovation, information. We are learning so much. We make so many mistakes along the way, all of us, every single company. We are all sinners when it comes to the environment as consumers, as companies, and it's really about us finding our way into a better industry. And it's expensive. I think that's one of the things that I like to call out is that making these changes can be costly, and it's really about putting the planet over profits in a lot of cases.
Thank you for sharing your perspective. I wanted to ask you, on October 18th at the INNOCOS Summit in Santa Monica, you are moderating a panel, and you also have a fireside chat on ingredient transparency.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the participants and why you chose each of them?
Yeah, absolutely. For the panel, I'm really excited. I think what I just spoke to about, sort of the what it takes to really go blue in your company. I think InnerSense and Greg Starkman can really speak to that. He has taken a multi-pronged approach to creating a company as a force for good. And it's, I've worked with InnerSense for the last 7 years, so I've actually watched it firsthand and kind of been a part of like, okay, wow, they're doing this now, and sort of the thought process and how they made those decisions and what it actually cost them as a company. For Shirley Bio, the founder of Catalyst, I was so inspired by her story. She read The Blue Economy and started a company based on that. And so her company came from had this really great blue origin story. And I think it's incredible. It's an incredible story. And it's an incredible, it's incredible what she's building with her company. And it's something to really celebrate and to study. And then for Izzy, another just hero story, creating, coming out of traditional beauty, probably in the most consumption heavy, overspending, over consumption company, with Madonna's beauty company, and taking all of that and transforming it into a truly circular company that was really well thought out from somebody who didn't really have experience being an environmentalist or anything like that. So it's just, those are 3 really great examples of how companies are going blue in the real world, beauty companies. Yeah.
I'm so much looking forward to this summit and the panels. That sounds really interesting.
Such a great choice, I have goosebumps, when you're speaking, because each of them really very, very special, each of the panel members. And I have to tell Jeannie, we will have to go stop soon because she has another webinar. I would like to advise to follow Jeannie Jarnot on Instagram and Beauty Heroes. Jeannie spends so much of her time and life to educate companies how to get the best ways to go blue, because there's so much misinformation or no information in the industry, and she spends so much of her time and resources in helping other brands to learn from the best. So she also inspired me a lot. As you said, that we're all sinners, and I didn't see it so much in myself until I get involved with all these Blue Beauty projects and Blue Beauty Awards, which we will be announcing soon again. So incredible job, and you are truly change maker, Jeannie, and I'm so happy to have you back in our panel in the INNOCOS Summit. We could not be without you. Yeah.
Thank you, Irina. I will just say, it's like, I'm not an environmental expert at all. I am, my background really is in hospitality management. But I think one of the things, the key ingredient is just caring about the environment. We're all doing it. And I really want to thank you, Irina, for, kind of through my journey, really championing it, giving me a platform to share and have these conversations. And it's through so many conversations. It's really about listening and learning. We are all learning together. And you don't need a specialty to be able to care and to use your company for good. And that's what INNOCOS is about. It's really about, and that's what about Blue Beauty is about. It's really about sharing best practices, watching what other companies are doing and saying, hey, we can do that in our company too. And when it comes to the environment, we are all on the same team. When we are all should be sharing resources, and we should all be inspiring each other to do better. And yeah, so I think that's the approach that I like to take with it. And the advantage that I have at Beauty Heroes is that we get to talk to a lot of brands every day and see a lot of brands. And so we see what like a wide swath of the industry is doing to go blue, so that we can, just have access to that perspective and share it back. And that's what I hope to do at the INNOCOS conference.
Yes. Little steps create the big changes, right? So we are here to all learn. So I'll see you all in Santa Monica on October 18, 19. And please check our descriptions below for information how to register if you have not yet.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
You there?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you both.